Welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about selection statements, which are basically if-thens, if-elses, then and else varies by the language. And we'll note that Python doesn't have a case or a switch statement, so we will use elifs to kind of get close to it. So we'll talk about that in the video, and we'll see you when we're done. So now we want to do a video talking about selection, which, as you recall from what we've done before, that simply means if statements or if-else statements. And in most languages, it would also include switch statements. Unfortunately, in Python, they do not exist yet. But we'll get into this and take a look. So again, I'm going to close the last one we worked on. I'm going to clear the screen here. I'm going to open the template, do a file save as, and this is going to be called selection.py. Save and change this to selection. And we are back being productive talking about selection. So for selection, one of the things that I want to start with is we can use the CS50 library to gain information from the user. So we're going to show you how to do that by doing an assignment. We're going to say total equals get int, and we're going to say as the prompt, enter a number from 0 to 10 as a total, and give them a space, and we're done. So that should call the CS50 library for getInt. It should prompt the user to enter a number from 0 to 10. And then whenever you do user input like that, we really want to test the value to make sure it's something valid. And this says undefined variable getInt, unused variable total. So getInt it's not liking. Because this in Python isn't really going to work the way it did in C. So let's try, because you really can't just do this. Okay. Now what I could say is, and this is another format for importing, I could say from CS50 import get string. We're going to use that later, so I'm going to do a spoiler alert there. And from CS50 import get int, and that should make this one go away, which it does. Okay, from CS50 import asterisk. I want to see if it likes that. Yes, it does. So my memory is correct as an old guy, but from CS50 import store is really going to get everything. But the reason I wanted to show you this is I'm not going to use everything from CS50. So I don't have to import everything. I can just import what I need. Okay? So you can pick and choose, because if I import everything, I'm kind of bloating my code, right? So why bother, right? I'm just going to import these two things because that's what I'm using. All right? So I am now dealing with a variable called total, and you notice there's a little I here. This is an upgrade to the IDE. It says unused variable. That's a warning. That's information that, hey, you've created this thing, but you're not using it, so you're technically wasting memory. Okay? It's not wrong, but it's information because, of course, I'm going to use it. All right? So let's do a basic if statement in Python. If total is less than 10, colon. Now watch what happens when I hit return after a colon. It automatically indents for me. Go with that. Okay? I'm going to say print something really simple like total is small. Okay? And let's put a period on that. All right, and let's go run that, and let's just see if it works. We'll save it. I like this on this side. And we're going to say Python said, whoa, too many E's there, buddy. Selection. Python selection. Can't open. Oh, what did I do? I forgot the .py. So we'll go up arrow, .py. There we go. Enter a number from 0 to 10 as a total. Now, what if I hit Z? It asks me again. Well, I didn't tell it to do that, but the getInt did. So when I use someone else's library, sometimes I get cool benefits. And in this case, it's going to wait until I give it an integer. So if I say 12.3, 12.4, still doesn't like it. Okay. So there's what's called front-end validation as part of the getInt library that it's only going to take an integer. So let's put in, now let's be cooperative and say 3. Total is small. Okay? Works like a charm. And the CS50 library with this method right here has really given me some cool benefits so that I don't have to test that input as much. Okay, I still need to make sure I'm getting good values. And that's why I have this. All right. Now, let's say, what if I want to test with an else condition? Now, notice it's going to keep indenting until I hit the backspace key to take me back to another line of code that's at the same level, if you will. Okay? So, let's do a different one. Let's say if total is less than 10, we're going to do the same condition, which is a little artificial, but I want to show you that I can change something. So I'm going to say total plus equals 2. So it's less than 10. I'm going to add 2 to it. But then I'm going to come over and say else, colon, and I don't need anything else in the else because it's the false version of the total less than 10. I'm going to say total minus equals 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 from the total if total is greater than 10. All right. So now let's put something in here. Let's say print total is now placeholder 0, period, dot format, and we will put in total. Okay. It likes it. Control save. Let's see what we get now. So I'm going to be cooperative the first time and put in 8. Total is small. Total is now 10. Because total was less than 10, it added 2. Now we're going to run it again, and I'm going to put in 12. Notice it did not say total is small. It subtracted 2 from it, and the total is now 10. So both of those if statements worked correctly. If it was less than 10, I got total is small, and it added 2, which it showed me. If it was greater than 10, this one did nothing, and this one executed the else. Okay? So it's pretty straightforward to do selection in Python. Now, let's just give ourselves the ability to start over with total. So we're going to say total equals getInt. Enter a new total. And then let's say, and what I'm going to show you here is the kind of things you need to go through because we don't have a switch. Okay? So what I want to do is I want to have a different reaction if total is 2 or 3 or 6 or a default. So I kind of want to simulate a switch in the easiest way possible using nothing but if and what you're going to see is an elif and then an else. So here we go. If total equals, which is equals 2. Do not forget the colon. That gets me my auto indent. I'm going to say print inside if, and the total is 2. Now I can overtly say the total's 2 because I've tested for that. Okay? Now I'm going to come back out here and say elif. Now elif means the first part is else crammed in with an if. So else, which means this one's false. So if it's not 2, it's going to do another if test. So elif total equals 3. I'm going to say, and I'm going to start copying this. Control C, Control V. I'm inside, I'm still kind of inside this big if test, and the total is 3. And I'm going to just say inside the if slash, no, I like the other one, elif. Okay? The total is 3. Now, I'm going to do one more. Elif total equals 6. I'm going to do another print. We're inside the if, elif, and the total is, oh, I'm sorry. I want to change this once. I'm going to change my mind here. Say if total is not equal to 6. Okay? Because I want to show you this, because if it's equal to 2 or equal to 3, I want to jump here. And even if it's 2 or 3, if it's not 6, I want to see inside if, elif, and the total is not 6. Okay? And the reason I'm doing that is I want to then say else. And I'm going to say print the total is not 2 or 3, but it might be 6. Okay? And then I'm going to come all the way out, and I'm just going to print new total is, put a placeholder, dot format total. Okay, because I want to see what it is to make sure it matches what's up there. Okay, so let's talk about this again so that we can see the structure, because when you start putting a lot of elifs in there, it can get confusing, and I flipped this up on you on the last minute because I changed my mind. So if total is 2, I should see this. If it's 3, I should see this. If it is not 6, I should see this. But what if it is 2? Should I see this? No. Okay? Because if it executes here, it's going to jump out. If it's 3, it's going to execute here and jump out. So this one's going to catch all the 2s. This is going to catch all the 3s. And this is going to catch all of the not 6s. Okay? So if it doesn't hit this or this, okay, we know it's not 2 or 3. But with this one, it might be 6, but we're not sure. Okay? And then we're going to print out what it is, and we'll talk about it. So here we go. This will be fun. So let's put in 2 and see what we get. Oh, that was the old 2. Okay? So that makes sense. Now we'll put it in here. Notice it says we're inside the if and the total is 2. So let's go check that. Inside, yep, if it's 2, it caught it here and it jumped out. Notice we got nothing else. Okay? Now I'm going to do a clear, bring this back to the top. And we're going to run, do it again. All right, this one I don't care about. We've already done that. New total, I'm going to put a 3 in. Okay? Inside the if-elif and the total is 3. The new total is 3. So again, it properly caught the 3 and quit. No big deal, right? So now let's run it again. And this time we're going to put in a 6. Okay? And you'll notice total is not 2 or 3, but it might be 6. And it is 6. And we know this because it got all the way to the else. Okay? Because this was false, so it fell out of this, it fell out of this, it fell out of this, so it got caught by this. Okay? So now we're going to put something else in, like maybe, let's just get rid of this. All right, let's put in like an 8. We'll leave it at 8, okay? It's inside the if-elif, and the total is not 6. Okay? New total is 8. All right? So, it got to here, and this was true. So, because this was true, it jumped out. Okay? So, you can use if, elifs, and elses, but you're going to really need to test this. It's not as straightforward as having a case where you've got case 2, case 3, case 6 default. Okay? And I wanted to show you that you don't always have to test for equality. This could also be less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. But when you get into these, you really want to test your results to make sure you're getting what you think you want to get. Okay? Now, let's just show you a couple things that can add to your ability to do some printing. Okay? So this is a little bit of an extra journey here, but I'm going to say letter input is equal to get string. And I'm going to say please enter a character. Oops. Let's try that. Putting that in quotes like we should. Please enter a character. All right, now I want to show you, I'm going to say print quote the character. Now let's just say the letter. The letter you entered was colon. Now I'm going to escape with single character and then put my placeholder. Then I'm going to escape single quotes, comma, which has an ASCII value of, sorry, let me get my cursor right, colon, put another placeholder, whoops, and then period, and then I'm going to come outside the quote and use dot format. And what I'm going to put in here in this format is letter input of 0, comma, ord of letter input of 0. And then I'm going to explain this. Make sure I've got all my closing parentheses. Okay, let's talk about this. This print statement says the letter you entered was placeholder with / single quotes. So whatever is in here is going to get single quotes around it, which has an ASCII value of regular old placeholder. So I'm putting in letter input of 0, which is kind of weird. Why am I using a 0 index? Well, a string is an array of characters, and get string, even though I say enter a character, I might type a whole sentence in here. I only want the first character. Okay? So it's a way of saying I'm only going to look at the first character even if you type all of War and Peace in here. Okay? So I want to print that so that you see the character. But then I want the ASCII value, and the method in Python for that is ord. So I call the ord method of letter input of 0, and I can pass this method in to this method, which is being passed into this method. So I'm literally passing a method into a method into a method. That's pretty cool. Okay? And I want to show you that because when we get to lambdas, which are anonymous methods, it gets really powerful in what we can do. Now, I also just want to show you how to print the other direction as far as ordinal. So I'm going to say print the character with an ASCII value of 65 is, not id, is, whoa, I am not wanting quotes these days. The character with an ASCII value of 65 is, colon, space, period, quote. Oh, what did I forget? My placeholder. Format. And this time I could, now let's just do it this way. Format CHR of 65. Okay? So I'm calling what is the character of ASCII 65? And again, I'm passing this into this, into this. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing. Control C, Control V, with 97. And I'm going to put a 97 in here and see what those two ASCII characters are. You probably should be able to guess this. And then I want to put one more comment in here that says, switch statements do not exist in Python. Okay? There is a way, it's a little bit advanced in Python, to do switch statements. I may add that as a video later on, but for now, you're going to just probably do them this way. Anything that has more than really if or else, you're going to need the elifs in Python. Okay? So keep it simple, make sure you test, and let's go look at this. I don't think I saved that. Let's say Control Save. All right, let's run this now. So we know this one works. We know this one works. Now let's please enter a character. Let's put in a capital G. And we get the letter you entered was G. Notice it's nicely in single quotes, which has an ASCII value of 71, which is correct. Notice the character with an ASCII value of 65 is capital A. 97 is lowercase a. You should always remember those two. So there you have selection in its basic forms in Python. So hopefully that was a good explanation of conditional statements in Python. You should see that they're very similar, a little bit easier perhaps syntactically than the language C. But in the next video, we're going to begin to look at iteration. This will be a two-part video. and we'll start the first one on the very next video. So I will see you on the other side.